Hello and welcome to Chai and Biscuits, a new podcast on all things football. I know, another one. And there like enough of these. What could we possibly have to talk about? I guess we'll find out. First, we should introduce ourselves, of course. This is a podcast run by three Indian football fans, although right now we're sort of based across the Pacific, and we're going to be talking about most things that are happening in football over some chai and biscuits. I'm Rohit. I've been a fan of Arsenal for a long time, your typical long suffering Arsenal fan. I'm one of those fans that stays up all night to watch the games, even the ones that are on at 1 or 2. And that's not just for Arsenal, that's for all the big clubs.
Hi everyone, this is Sandy. I'm a huge fan of everyone's favorite club, Manchester United. To talk about three of us, we met in university more than 10 years ago now. And one thing that has kept us connected over all these years was football. We played, we analyzed, we fought over football from college till now. And we hope to do the same thing with anyone who is listening.
Hello everyone, I'm Abhishek. FC Barcelona has been my lifeline since my early days of watching football. And as Sandy mentioned, we have been talking about football amongst ourselves for a long time now. And one day, we thought why not share that with anyone else who's as mad about football?
Right, to start things off, we'll be discussing the transfer window for the Big Six. First up, it's Manchester City. Abhishek, following their final day drama and their last game win against Aston Villa, what do you think Manchester City needed to do at the start of the transfer window? And do you think they achieved that?
I think, Rohit, Manchester City needed very little work to be done to their Premier League winning squad. But they went ahead and signed one of the world's best players in Erling Haaland and superb backups to both Rodri and Ederson in Calvin Phillips and Steven Ortega. And also one of the best things to come out of South America, Julian Alvarez. Pep Guardiola has finally been given the prolific goal scorer he was hunting for almost over a year. And it's easy to imagine Man City will be even better this year with the start they have got. The departures of Raheem Sterling, Zinchenko, and Jesus have earned the club a lot of money, but they might come to regret letting them leave. And Pep was smart enough to get a reliable centre back at the last moment with Akanji, smart, experienced player from Dortmund. Because I feel Pep needed, with only two centre backs left, with Ake not playing in the last two games, Pep needed another centre back, and he was smart enough to get Akanji. And if you talk purely about numbers, compared to previous window, they had a better window in terms of financial numbers. They were able to maintain a net positive transfer of almost 40 million pounds. So overall, I feel Manchester City's squad have strengthened, and yeah,
Something that you said at the beginning was the players that they lost and they sort of had to replace. They lost Jesus, they lost Sterling, two big players that they've had for a long time, who played a big role in their title wins over the last few years. Do you think they'll lose that team chemistry because of that?
I think Pep Guardiola always likes to refresh their teams. It's one of the mentality that he has, where he gets new players in to get a squad refresh, so that they have a new how do I say this, title push that they can do. Uh, so and moreover, they got a good or I would say upgrade from what they had with Jesus. They got Haaland. With Sterling, they have now Grealish, and Grealish is also settling in on his second season, and now they have Julian Alvarez as well. So I think in terms of squad refresh, Pep got what he wanted.
Yeah, talking about Haaland, we've seen what he can do in Dortmund. We've seen what he has done over the last 5-6 games here in England, and he's just taken the Premier League by storm. Do you think that he can do that for the rest of the season? Do you think he is the missing link that Pep has missed? And will he be able to take them to that next level? For example, winning the Champions League that they've been trying to win for the long time, that he's been trying to win since he's left Barcelona.
I think, yeah, Haaland is one of the prolific strikers of the world right now, and he's been proving that. If you look at the past few matches for City, almost I think he's averaging a goal per game, if not more. And come to think of it, if you look at the semi-final loss against Real Madrid, if Haaland would have been there, he would have been at the end of one of those chances, and he would have converted them. So I feel like not just Haaland, I feel Pep and the other squad like De Bruyne, Bernardo, Rodri, all of them would want a Champions League win, and I feel this year could be the one for City. And also, Haaland not going to World Cup would mean that he would get a 1 month of rest. So I feel he should be able to sustain that kind of form coming off after the World Cup as well.
And maybe they'll win their third title in a row. They'll be the fifth club in history to do that. Do you
Oh
guys know who
yeah,
are the
forgot about that.
clubs?
I
Um,
know it's United. 7, 8, 9 for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, United did that twice, I think. 7, 8, 9, and 99, 2000, and 2001. And before that, Liverpool did that in the 80s, and Arsenal did that in the 30s, and I think Huddersfield Town did that in the 20s. So, just a bit of trivia for you guys. For continuing with City, do you think that the players that they got in defense, Akanji and they've got Ake now back at. I think Ake is their only left-sided centre back and was the only left back as a sub for a while until they got Sergio Gomez. Do you think these these people on the bench are good enough for Manchester City?
Yeah, for sure. Akanji is a very smart defender. There are talks of him that he's a math genius as well, and not that kind of plays into his footballing abilities, but he is a smart ball playing center back, and he had experience internationally as well. So that kind of helps, and he's a very good squad player. And as you said, left center back and left back with they lost Zinchenko and they got Gomez. I feel Gomez is a kind of player that Pep wants. He's a very good with crossing. I've seen one of his few of his crosses, and it feels like he's a De Bruyne from the left hand side, with his crosses. And I feel he'll get better and better. And they do have few options from the academy with Cole Palmer, with L- Lewis, and with Josh, another left back. And I feel Pep doesn't give that many chances if you're not that good or if you're not up for the level. And like we saw, Phil Foden was one of the, I think, last breakthrough player from academy that Pep trusted. And if Pep is trusting these players from academy, I believe they have the quality to come off from the bench and maintain the same standards that Pep demands.
Yep. Obviously, we want to speak more about Haaland, but one thing I wanted to ask about Haaland was his injury record. We observed in Dortmund where he was
Hmm.
injured. He started really well, and there were parts of it where he was injured. And do you think that will be a worry for City because now they are so dependent on Haaland for goals? And before this, yes, they were not dependent and they got goals from different avenues, but now it's all Haaland. But what if he gets injured? Do you think City can cope up with that?
Yeah. I think it's a twofold answer. First, being Haaland was is still young and was young when he was playing for Dortmund, and you'd expect few injuries and niggles to come for a young player as he's growing. And his injury record, I think, was 7 games out maximum. That was his longest injury record in 2021 to 2022 season with Dortmund. And most of his injuries are like muscle knocks and small bruises, which is expected of a young striker who's at the end of strong challenges from CBs, the way he plays. But Pep has been also very, very cautious with how he uses Haaland. He normally substitutes him at 60th minute mark or 70th minute mark. And the second full answer to it would be, I know that you mentioned Haaland is the one who's scoring, and City is kind of looking for Haaland to, look for goals. But if Haaland is not there, Pep can use Alvarez, and Alvarez will be set up in a false nine setup like he used last year to win the Premier League. So I think Pep has few other tricks up his sleeve as well, and he has got the perfect two strikers that he needed uh, for the next step, which is Premier League and Champions League.
Mhm. I think the
So,
way
do you? Sorry, go
yes.
ahead.
No, I think the way Julian Alvarez and Haaland played against Nottingham Forest was also really good. He started both of them, and I
That
think
was a
that
surprise.
yeah, everyone was surprised, and that is one other way of playing that he can do, where Julian Alvarez sits right behind Haaland, and uh, they can attack against low block teams. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, make the space for Haaland to operate, and that kind of played into what Pep wanted. That's what I'm saying. Like Pep always has some few tricks up his sleeve, and with Alvarez being so able to play in multiple positions across the front line, gives him
Mhm.
that extra ammunition for even to create space for Haaland where he's devastating.
But what sort of a player is Alvarez? Do you think he is someone who can replace Haaland himself and replace him in terms of style, or is he a bit more of a false nine sort of player?
I don't think he can replace Haaland. Haaland is the number nine, I would say, fast, strong, can take up center back, can do a hold up play. Alvarez is more of a smart uh, player, and he can definitely play in false nine. He used to play like that for River Plate as well for with Marcel Gallardo, and I think he just gives another way and for Pep to set up his team and attack low block teams. So I'm not saying he'll be a replacement for Haaland. It will be they both can play together, like we saw as Andy mentioned against Nottingham, and he can play alone as a center forward as well, which he did for River Plate.
As far as this season, City lost or lost points on two occasions, one Newcastle away and one Aston Villa away, and obviously they were losing at Newcastle, but it was Kevin De Bruyne's show for the comeback. Uh,
What a through ball, man!
yeah. So where do you think they are lacking, and do you think they would have got someone else, or do you think they did enough for this transfer window? I mean, based on those two games where they lost points.
I mean, they
To be
did go for
honest,
Kukurea.
Hmm.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
example,
but
they
yeah,
went for Kukurea, right?
yeah, but they didn't want to pay 55 million for him. I think, right?
yeah, I don't think Cucurella was worth 55, more than 55 million though, after his one season stint, even though it was a really good season at Brighton. But yeah, like you said, against Newcastle away, I mean, Newcastle away is always going to be a challenge this season because of how Eddie Howe is a really good manager and the team that he has got. And even though they conceded early and uh, but they were able to bounce back and score the goals. Haaland did it. Uh, Kevin De Bruyne did it. It kind of speaks into their mentality, that they always fight back. And I think a lot of teams are going to struggle in Newcastle away, and to get a point away, I would say is still a good uh, you know thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good point.
yeah,
Valuable
good
point.
point. Yeah.
hmm
So overall, how do you rate the transfer window that they've just had out of 10?
Hmm. I would give it a solid 8 on 10 because of Haaland. I mean, I can't believe people give Pep Haaland and De Bruyne, and they both are playing on the same team. And also, he got a good upcoming left back in Sergio Gomez. And yeah, I think and Alvarez. So I would give it a good 8 on 10.
Nice. We start off with an 8. What do you think they
Hmm.
needed to do to get that 10? Did they miss out on someone? Uh, did they have to get another striker, another midfielder? What did they miss out on?
I
Or
think you can
they
never
need.
get a 10, right? Unless it's I mean, we can give it a 10 on 10 if they end up winning all the, like a treble or something, or quadruple of trophies. But for now,
Or
I
they
would give
get a
it an 8
squad
on
change like Barcelona?
10. Yep. But Barcelona's window came to be 9 on 10 after they got Hector Bellerin and Marcos Alonso, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say. I mean, I also agree with eight only because of more not about incomings, maybe outgoings, because all the three big experienced play four, right? Sterling, Jesus, Zinchenko, and Fernandinho left in the same window. Core part of the core team from last 6 years when Pep was there. They might miss them, but I don't know if the new players perform. Uh, at this rate, how they are performing, I think they are better than the people who left. But it depends. Consistency is everything, right? So we
Yeah,
have to see.
consistency is something Pep demands, and I feel the core of the team is still there. Last season, core of the team, I would say the third best footballer after Kevin De Bruyne was Bernardo Silva, and Bernardo Silva not leaving to Barcelona and staying put at Manchester City helps Pep, because Pep uses Bernardo Silva in a lot of positions, and he's really good player in all of the positions that he plays in. So I think De Bruyne, Bernardo, Rodri, Kyle Walker,
Good.
Cancelo, Mahrez, all of them, Mahrez being the top scorer for last season, I think they kind of form the core of the team, and they're still there. So I think Pep's ideas will be, translated through these players.
Right. All right. After Man City is Liverpool. Disappointment on the last day for Liverpool last season, losing by just 1 point. What do you think they needed to do in the transfer window, Sandy? And do you think they achieved that?
This transfer window, I think it's more about the person who is leaving, who left. Sorry, uh, Sadio Mane. The biggest uh, thing that changed that happened for the Liverpool to the Liverpool squad. Uh, they lost a very big, very big player in Mane, who contributes to goals or assists or links up play, and who's been there for almost 6 7 years, and all the successful years under Klopp. They got a replacement, Darwin Nunes. He started off with a red card, but I think he's really good in terms of Klopp's mentality players. He's one of those who wants to fight till the last minute, and he performed very well in Champions League with Benfica last season. Uh, that is the biggest signing. I think they allocated most of their funds to Darwin Nunes, and along with Darwin Nunes, they signed Fabio Carvalho from Fulham last season, and this year he joined and he scored the winner against Newcastle, and he's been performing really well in advanced midfield positions. I think he'll be a really important player to the squad. And then followed by Calvin Ramsey, a very good right back, backup for Trent. He's really amazing in crosses too, and he's very young, very raw, but he can act as a good backup to Trent. And also we the last deadline day signing of Arthur. Uh, we can say it is a panic signing, or a signing needed because of all the injuries in the midfield. Uh, he has experience with in playing in big levels at Barcelona and Juventus, so he he, he can do the job. I mean, the way Jordan Henderson or James Milner does the job, I think he can be valuable as a squad player, Arthur. But we have to see. He is not consistent. He's injury prone. So we have to see how he fares, and he has to adapt to the Premier League too. And may so we spoke about outgoings, Mane, and they also lost Minamino and Origi. So three goal scorers. They lost these three goal scorers. So attacking department, they still have a lot of very good quality players, but they lost a lot of goals in the transfer window.
Yeah, I think you're right about the loss of Mane because, like you said, he's been there from the very beginning, and he's contributed a lot. He's one of the first player in the squad that starts the press, for Liverpool. Do you think that because they got Luis Diaz much earlier when Mane was still there, do you think Luis Diaz can replace Mane at left wing? Because Darwin Nunes, I think they're trying to upgrade on Firmino. So do you think both of them together can replace Mane? And because they will be changing the team style a bit, I think. Don't you agree?
Hmm. Yes, I mean, so from last January, Luis Diaz has been amazing for Liverpool. Let's we can see that in the way he's performing. He's been scoring, he's been assisting, but he's more than that. He's been terrifying defenders with his dribbling. So he Luis Diaz has been a really good addition. But second half of last season, if you remember, Mane played at number 9 and Luis Diaz played on left wing. And the way Mane connected midfield and attack, and the way Mane was linking plays with both Salah and Luis Diaz, I think Liverpool will miss that. A player, yeah, most of the time when Mane was at Liverpool, he played on left wing, but he slowly transitioned to number 9, and it was working also. He's a very, very, very good goal scorer, and he has an eye for goal, but at the same time he's very uh, good at linking plays as a number 9. And Firmino can do that, but do that better than Darwin Nunes. But we know that they are looking to upgrade Firmino. Uh, so Darwin Nunes, maybe it will take some time for him to get there. He's young, he's talented, he has the potential, but he needs to remain uh, on the ground. The red card against the red card was not acceptable. So he needs to be keep his feet on the ground, work hard, and he needs to get to that level, but he's not there yet. But I think it will take some time, and he has the quality to do it.
Yeah, actually, like you said, Mane is not just a reliable goal scorer and income play. I think Salah and Mane they had a telepathic connection as well. Kind of not on the board like Neymar and Messi, but they did have a really good telepathic connection. And I think Liverpool are gonna kind of miss that with Mane leaving.
Exactly. I think Manchester United lost 4-0 at Anfield last season, and there were a couple of passes from Mane to Salah where he didn't even see, and he just gave a through ball over Maguire. So, yeah,
Yeah, but
they'll definitely miss that. Mhm.
yeah, definitely. But I want to move away from striking striking uh, players to midfield. I feel midfield. They got Arthur, they got Fabio Cavallo, but I feel one of the position that is not talked about much, and I feel they were missing against the loss against United last week, uh, was the CDM position. Uh, Fabinho. Fabinho was a surprise absence from in the match against United, and I feel they don't have a good cover for Fabinho. Do you think Klopp should have gone for a good CDM, or do you think somebody like Milner or Henderson can be a good cover for Fabinho for important matches?
I think they should have gone for a CDM, but to be honest, there are not that many options available too. CDM is a very I know niche position,
Yeah.
and there are very less players who can do that. And right now, I don't think there is a very good quality CDM available in the market who they can go after. Klopp said something. They tried for a player, but he went to a different club. So, and but more than that, I feel we have to give credit to Henderson and Milner too, because they were performing from last 4 or 5 years, and they were really good. Also, it's not just filling up the numbers or acting as a squad players. They were proper first team players, and they were doing the job, uh, both in Champions League and Premier League. So, and with World Cup coming up, I think Henderson wants to be, he's a, since he's a main part of England squad as well. So he wants to be fit, and he wants to play, and he wants to contribute. So I, he thought he thought there is already Mane gone, and he doesn't want to change much, and he can use the current squad. He trusts his players. Basically, my point is he trusts his players that he has now, and he wants to continue with the squad that delivered him success over all these years.
Got it.
Yeah, but I think the problem with Liverpool, even last season, was their midfield because they have a good functioning midfield who, with Fabinho, who's definitely one of the best CDMs. But if something happens to Fabinho, most of the midfield are injury prone, aren't they? Like with Thiago, with AOC, with Curtis Jones, with Keita. Most of these players have had multiple injuries on and on and on and again. Do you think that they have enough quality to go on? Because especially with Thiago, I read a stat that he plays only on average for the last 6 seasons, he plays only about 25 to 30 games a season, which is like half the games that Liverpool played last season because they played every game possible.
Hmm. Yeah, Thiago is a second half of the season player. He only plays in Champions League finals so. Yeah, it is true. Now, right now, I think they are in trouble because there is no return date set for Keita or Curtis Jones or uh, uh, Oxlade Chamberlain. They're long term injuries. Thiago is almost like 5 weeks out now, and Henderson is out for a month. So, and that is the reason why they bought Arthur Melo on loan from Juventus on deadline day. Although he might not be their primary target, I don't think. I think they left it too late in the transfer window to even go for a midfielder. They thought they had enough, which is true. Also, you can't blame them because the
Yeah,
the, the
definitely a
all
panic buy.
definitely a panic buy, but you can't blame Klopp because although these people are injury prone, like Rohit said, Kita and Thiago and AOC, but when they played, they delivered. So they want to give them that chance of proving themselves, and because they did it in the past, because it worked, right? Although they are injury prone, it was working from last 3 4 years with no issues. Maybe last season they just lost we can they just lost 1 point in the Premier League, and it is because it is City. It is if it was any other team, they would have won the league. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I,
Liverpool probably need like a one or two streak of games, winning, and they'll be like back, and they'll have like a streak of like 10 or 11 wins on a trot. So yeah, I think you're right.
Mhm.
Like they always come back whenever people doubted them.
But this season they've
Yes,
started a bit slow, don't you think?
Yes, definitely, definitely. Two draws and a loss to start with, and then they won a couple of games, but again draw with Everton again. It is a slow start. It is a slow start compared to the Liverpool standards that we have been seeing from over the last 4 or 5 years. But they also had tough games. I'll say they also had tough games, and United, especially at Old Trafford. Uh, it's not it's not an excuse, but United also lost, were in a very bad position, and they had to prove themselves, and they really performed. They gave their heart and soul in defending, and but still Liverpool created a lot of chances. Liverpool should have finished those some of those chances, and they're playing well. The positive thing that I look from this slow start is they played well in almost all the games. They got Darwin Nunes got a red card, and he was not there for 3 games. Diogo Jota was injured. Uh, Firmino was injured for a week or two, and then he came back. But Firmino didn't play in the starting 11 last season, so he's still a bit rusty. But so yeah, the injuries and Mane leaving affected them a bit. But the good thing is we know that they come back. We know that they lost, I think, on goal difference in 2018 and 2019, but they came back to win the Premier League the next season. Same with Champions League, they lost against Real Madrid, came back to win against Tottenham next season. So we know that they have that winning mentality. Klopp instigates that into the team. So yeah, slow start, yes, definitely, because of injuries, tough games, and a lot of other circumstances. But they're playing well. That's the uh, a positive thing that came out of the first 6 game weeks.
Something that you said just now was they've had some disappointments over the last few seasons. They've definitely had many disappointments because they've missed out on a lot of big titles, like two titles. I think they've lost by few points, and they've lost two Champions League titles. Do you think
Mhm.
after going till the end, they almost won a quadruple last season, right? Do you think after winning only two of the smaller cups, do you think they'll be able to push themselves to do as well as they did? Do you think they can go that far again this season?
Yeah, as I was saying, okay, this is an interesting stat to look at where Klopp got relegated in his seventh season. It means he got Dortmund almost 16th in the league table in his seventh season. Then this is the seventh season at Liverpool. So history history is not in
Repeating
favor
itself.
with Liverpool. History is not in favor with Liverpool, but I think it's this time it's different because they are an elite club now. Everyone fears them. There is that fear factor when we are playing with Liverpool. We know that they are very strong, and they can kill you at any moment in the game. They have the way they played against City at Etihad last season, or the way they played at a very high level games. It was we know that they are an elite club now, so it's different from the way from the time when he was at Dortmund. So and as I was saying, they always came back when they lost the Premier League title on goal difference. They came back next season and they won it. When they lost a Champions League final, when Sergio Ramos injured Salah, they came back next season to win it against Tottenham. So uh, yes, they had disappointments in the past, but they showed that they can come back even more stronger and win it. So this squad, i I think they have that mentality, but i- they have a very short squad. They need their injured players to come back and start performing on all levels now. Mhm.
Yeah, I think you said they won. They lost it on goal difference because I think they lost it by 1 or 2 points because they almost reached City's record. Yeah, whatever.
I have a thing to ask. Like overall, how would you rate the transfer window that Liverpool have done?
I'll say 6/10. Only because they lost so many goals, but but at the same time uh, they have they bought Luis Diaz in January. They have Darwin Nunes. They have Diego Jota, Firmino, and Salah. So I'm not that worried about the striking department because they lost goals in Minamino and Origi also. But I'm worried about the midfield. Maybe they should have acted sooner and tried a replacement or a replacement in the sense I tried to get a starting midfielder. It would have been different because James Miller is not getting any younger. So I thought it's time to get a replacement. He's a very good squad player. He can fill in right back. He can fill in as a left back too. So we need like Liverpool needs him in the squad, but a starting midfielder could have done could have made the squad stronger. City upgraded this season, but Liverpool were not able to do it. I think that is the big, big
Yeah, I
gap.
think I think they got a like for like replacement. I would say in terms of level. Uh, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like in terms of upgrade, City did get upgrade on every other position, but with with Liverpool, you can't say the same.
Mhm. But we don't know the way Harvey Elliott is performing.
Oh yeah,
Uh, he can be a really really good player, but he's also raw, and we need to see if he can be. He was injured last season. Until then, he was one of their best players. So we have to see Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones. It's a good thing to see from an outside point of view to give academy players the chance to shine and whereas City is not doing that, and Klopp is trying to do that. So it is good to see that, but we need to see if those players can perform at high levels. The quality of the competition is very high to City, so you need to perform really well. And Harvey
yeah,
Elliott
compete.
is
Yeah,
yeah, he is performing. So we have we have to see. And with Thiago comes back, and with Fabinho, Thiago, and Harvey Elliott, I think it's a very strong midfield. But again, not proven at high levels yet.
got it.
Mm.
Yeah, so 6 out of 10 makes sense then.
Yep. Next up, Rohit's favorite club, Tottenham. They unexpectedly finished top four last season and very promising start this season with 14 points, I think, from 6 games. They've been very busy in the transfer window, and we all know what Conte can do. He's a proven winner. How do you analyze the transfer window of Tottenham, Rohit?
Yeah, I think what they needed to do during the transfer window was get some depth because the players that they got in January last year, Kulusevski and Bentancur, they really helped settle Conte in at Spurs. And beyond Kane and Son, they didn't really have a good um, attacking option. They had Mora, they had they had Bergman, but I think what they needed was someone who was sure to give them an option off the bench if Kane and Son doesn't work, and they were able to get that with Richarlison. And they also needed some depth in midfield, so they got Bissouma, and I think because he plays with wing backs, he needed some players that can help him help him attack from the wings, And that was someone. Perisic was someone who did that very well at Inter last season, and they got him for very cheap. I think it was a free transfer, and they needed someone who can be a good backup at centre backs, and they were able to get that from Longley as well. So overall, I think they did quite well because some of they actually even finalized the loan of Romero. So he's a Spurs player now, and they were able to get rid of some players that they didn't really want, like Lo Celso, like Regulon, like Ndombele. So I think they've done well in terms of getting some depth in and raising the squad's level. So they have a very good chance of reaching top four, I think.
Yep, fairly agree. Good assessment. And when we talk about Spurs, I think now definitely we have to talk about their main man, which is not even the players that which is Conte. How do you think they will fare? So this is first full season of Conte. How do you think they will fare under Conte? Do you think they will get their first trophy in 14 years? Now the last one was I think League Cup in 2008. Right.
Yeah, I don't know if they can win a trophy, but I think they'll get far in the league, in the Champions League, and maybe they'll do well in the league, in the cups as well. But it depends on how well Kane does, I think, because most of Tottenham's fortunes lay at how well Kane and Son have done over the last few years. So if they perform very well in the cups, then probably they can win. But I think it's unlikely considering how well the other clubs are doing.
Yeah. Also, to continue on to what Sandy asked, Conte as a manager has had a little bit of I would say wrong or bad reputation when it comes to Europe. He has not been as successful as he should have been with the teams he have had in Juventus or in Chelsea. He has this. I would say he's known as a one competition man. Like when Conte is focused only on one competition, he does well. But if he has to manage multiple competitions, he kind of doesn't do well in that regard. Do you agree with this, or do you think Conte will be able to surprise everyone with uh, how far they can go in Europe?
Yeah, I think I understand how that reputation has formed because he sort of prefers winning the league, I think, over the cups, and he forms his teams in a way that it's sort of long term. It's as in over the season. It's not a knockout competition that he does well in, which he's done with Chelsea and Inter and Juventus. But I think what is different right now is the board has actually helped him in terms of giving him the players that he wants. They were able to keep Kane there for another season, and they were able
Yep.
to keep get some more good players, which they haven't done for a while. They haven't gone out and bought so many players. They've actually gone out and bought at least six, seven players, and many of them are in the first team, like Bissouma, like Longley, like Sessegnon. Uh, I think Bentancur has been there for a while, but yeah, Bentancur and Kulusevski, they've been there for a while, and I think that will help Conte. And with Richarlison, that's something that they didn't have earlier. So
So you're saying like
gotten
they have
play,
good
yeah,
squad depth.
they've gotten players that he actually wanted, I think, and he's happy with. I know he had a problem last season where he was a bit grumpy and all, but I think that this season will be better for him at least because they've financed him with the players, and he has to do the next bit.
Speaking about Grumpy, I think we all know that episode from last season where when they were not getting the results, I think they lost uh, three times in a row in the Premier League, which Conte thinks is not acceptable for him, and he wanted to see if he can leave if the results are not in their way, and then Spurs started performing, right? So he, during mid-season, if things are not his way, do you think the deceleration will be more faster? I'll say faster than the way they are going up, because we all saw what happened at Chelsea, we also saw what happened with Inter Milan. If things are not going his way, either in terms of transfers or in terms of on field play, he gets grumpy, and that can affect the mood of the team too. Do you think so? And one of the reasons why United didn't go for Conte, Manchester, when he was available, was that where he has he has he didn't perform on a longer term basis in any club till now. And if things are not his way, which means like you, as a manager, you have to work with the owners of the club irrespective of their opinions, right? You have to, it's a business in the end, and you have to work with them in getting the best possible players. So yes, it's a balance that you have to take, and Conte is not really good at it. So do you think that can be a factor going into the season this time?
Yeah, I think so. Because if he doesn't get the results that he wants, especially from the players, I'm not going to say from the game itself, because games you don't know what you can expect from your opponents. But if he feels like his players are not performing to the standard that he requires, then I think there is a chance that he might he might start doing what he did at Chelsea and Inter again. But I don't think that's the case this season, because they seem to be doing well. I don't think they're at the level that he wants, like at the teams that he's already managed, like Chelsea and Inter. But I think they're better than last season because they've got Bissouma, they've got Richarlison, so they've basically upgraded. So I think that he's, because, like I said, he's got the players, and the only reason that he would become grumpy is if suddenly all of them start not performing well, which I think is unlikely.
Yep. Moving on to the players, Kane has 188 goals in the Premier League now. A few from Rooney, the second highest goal scorer. Do you think he'll cross that this season?
I think that Kane has, I think he has about, I'm not sure how many goals he has right now from Rooney, but I think there is a chance that he can reach Rooney's level, which is I think 208.
Yes. And
But I
188.
think what will be different from the seasons before is, even when he has started a bit slow, he has reached a good amount of goals for the last few seasons. So I think even if he starts slow this season, I think he has about one or two goals now. So even if he starts slow, I think you can expect him to bag about 10, 15 goals, which is decent. But for him to reach
Mhm.
Rooney's level, I think he'll have to do a bit more, and I don't think that will be possible this season. But we know that he can do it. He can do it over his career, definitely.
Yeah, and I think with Haaland pushing for Golden Boot, Kane will be as motivated as well because he's also, a born champion, and I would definitely think that he would be looking to cross that 200 goal barrier this season.
Yeah, I think he's only about 20 goals off from Rooney. So I think there is a chance that he can reach that. But looking at how well the other teams are performing, I think this season it might not be possible, because if you see how well the top six clubs are performing, they're doing quite well. Arsenal is doing
Yeah.
quite well. United is doing quite well. And if you look at the mid-table clubs, like Brentford, like Brighton, like Fulham, Newcastle, they're all doing well. And because of that, I think he might struggle to reach another 20 goals in the next 30 odd games.
But who are you looking forward to see this season in the new on the or of all the new signings? Who are you looking forward to see as a player? Uh,
I think it's an odd player, but for me, it's Jed Spence. He's the right back that they got from Middlesbrough. Arsenal played Middlesbrough last season, and he played amazing. He played really good at right back. So I think what they can expect from him. He's still very young. He's only 21, so he might not start many of the games, but I think he's definitely going to be someone that you
Hmm.
can expect to be very good in the near future. Also, another player is another wing back. I think I'm interested to see what Perisic will do because he did very well at all the clubs that he was at, and he did very well even at 33. He did very well at Inter. So I'm curious to see how well he does. He's already had a couple of assists now, so I think that he might not start many games, but I think he'll definitely be a big player for Conte.
Hmm. It's fair to say you look forward to seeing the fullbacks because that is typical Conte's play, and they are one of the main attacking or defensively and attacking threats that they have, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because um, you can expect that from all the players, all the teams that he has managed, and I'm curious to see how he manages this team with these
Yeah.
players. You know.
So overall, Rohit, I would want to ask you how would you rate the transfer window for Spurs and how Conte did?
I think they've added a lot of good depth. So I would say maybe 7 out of 10.
7 out of
So
10.
yeah, sounds fair. I think they should have enough to push for a Champions League
Yeah.
top four.
So it's
Yeah, I
because
think the
you gave
reason,
7
yeah,
with the squad, right? You gave a 7 more than replacing the first team players much. I think Conte stuck with the first team players they already have now.
exactly, that's
Yeah,
exactly right.
Conte.
Because I think they didn't really get a world class player. They got Richarlison, which is great, but I think he will be a first choice if he can get Kulusevski off that team, which I don't think he can with the form that Kulusevski is in right now. But
Also,
mostly what they've got is the depth. So I don't think you can actually say that they did very well because they didn't really improve the ceiling. They just raised the floor, I think. Sorry, Abhishek.
yeah, no, I just wanted to add the point that Conte normally doesn't change much with the first team, and even though he gets like players for the squad that he uh, directly doesn't put them in the starting lineup, or I would say doesn't mix his starting lineup that much. So I think we will see a gradual, mix of squad players into the starting lineup.
Yeah, I remember him saying that uh, he's still giving time for the new players to get used to his methods. In one post-match conference, he's it's still not that comfortable with the new players adjusting to his system yet. But at the same time, since the last season squad performed really well, he's sticking to them, and they are delivering too. So I'm also excited to see Bizuma. He had a very good season in Brighton last year, and he's young. I mean, not that young, but 26 years old, and he can be an engine in that midfield that Conte really likes. So I'm going to see him
Yeah,
how
yeah,
will
yeah,
he
yeah, I
fare.
agree.
Maybe.
Because I think that was a player that Arsenal were looking at for a while, and it's a pity that he's gone to Spurs. But you're right in terms of how he will settle in, because he hasn't started any of the games, I think. But I think he will get there with Højbjerg. I think Højbjerg and Bissouma will be a very good all-action pairing of center midfielders. You know.